Welcome to our second video covering noteworthy incidents. Based on your feedback from our first video on June 30th, we're continuing on with the series with one near the end of each month. A lot has happened, but here are some of the most interesting incidents that took place. Starting on June 26th, an American Airlines 737 flying from Dallas to El Salvador was reportedly denied an emergency landing in Costa Rica. The airport's control tower informed the flight that the airport was closed and a landing would not be possible. Denying an emergency landing is very unusual, but it looks as if the staff at the airport were unaware that the aircraft was requesting an emergency landing until after. Local media report that the tower was not in direct contact with the aircraft. The request actually came via the Center for Air Traffic Control, CENAMA, which covers Central American airspace above 20,000 feet. Apparently, CENAMA did not communicate the urgent nature of the request and is investigating the incident. The aircraft eventually diverted to Guatemala City, or GUA, and made a safe landing there. On July 2nd, a Boeing 737 carrying cargo crashed just off the coast of Honolulu. The 46-year-old 737-200 freighter was operated by Rhodes Aviation in Transair colours. About 10 minutes after takeoff, the crew started to face engine issues and decided to turn back to Honolulu. Less than 30 minutes after takeoff, the aircraft was ditched in the ocean. On July 10th, the National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, located major components of the 737 on the sea floor, releasing the chilling images. The investigation continues and involves the Federal Aviation Administration, Boeing, Pratt & Whitney, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, and Rhodes Aviation. On July 6th, an Antonov AN-26 belonging to Kamchatka Aviation Enterprise crashed on approach near Polano, Russia. In this incident, all 22 passengers and 6 crew members lost their lives. While one flight data recorder has been recovered, the cause of the crash remains under investigation. On the same day, in the United States, flight attendants duct-taped a first-class passenger to her seat after she reportedly had an in-flight mental breakdown. In a statement, American Airlines said, "The crew on board American Airlines Flight 1774 reported a potential security concern after a customer attempted to open the forward boarding door and physically assaulted, bit, and caused injury to a flight attendant." The individual was restrained until the flight landed at Charlotte Douglas Airport and could be met by law enforcement and emergency personnel. 3 days later, on July 9th, Dr. Farah Khan was traveling with United Express from Kalispell to Houston when she placed a dirty diaper in the bin in the aircraft's bathroom. A flight attendant scolded Dr. Khan about it being a quote-unquote biohazard. The passenger was ordered to remove the diaper, which, quote, shocked and humiliated her. Once in Houston, she was called by United and informed that she was now on the carrier's no-fly list due to the biohazard incident. When asked about the incident, the airline operating the flight for United, Mesa Airlines, said the following: "The details as described by our customer do not meet the high standards that Mesa sets for our flight attendants, and we are reviewing the matter." On July 13th, an Emirates Boeing 777-300ER was forced to return to Milan Malpensa Airport after encountering severe hail upon departure. As you can see in the photos, the jet suffered substantial damage, including shattering both windshields. To avoid a hard landing, the pilots were forced to enter a holding pattern around Milan Airport for an hour and a half. Only once enough fuel had been burned did the aircraft land. The jet landed safely 90 minutes after departure, with no injuries reported. Then, on July 16th in Dublin, an American Airlines 7878 struck an Aer Lingus A330 while being pushed back. American Airlines issued a statement saying, "During flight AA723 from Dublin to Philadelphia, a Boeing 7878 aircraft incurred damage during pushback when the right wingtip made contact with a nearby parked aircraft. All customers on board have deplaned and returned to the terminal with no injuries reported." Finally, we wanted to note that the UK's Air Accidents Investigation Branch issued a special bulletin regarding the British Airways 787 nose gear collapse on June 18th. The investigation's findings were quite interesting, and so we made a full video just for this story, which you'll find here next week. We certainly weren't able to cover everything in this video or go into as much detail as we would have liked. As with all our videos, there's a more detailed corresponding article on simpleflying.com. Check out the links in the description to learn more. And as always, share your thoughts on this video and any of the topics we covered by leaving a comment below. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles and a podcast every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe before you go.